Okay. So hi, I'm Corey Walmsley. Welcome to everybody who's joining us. And I would love to introduce you to best-selling author, Vinnie Borrelli. And today we're going to talk with him a little bit about his author journey, about everything that's come since the book, which just came out in January and became an immediate bestseller because it's so awesome. So we're going to start with a little bit about actually, I'm just going to let Vinny introduce himself to you. So go ahead and tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll start talking about your book.
Sure. Vincenzo Borrelli, go by Vinny. And thank you for that, by the way, Corey. I had a dream of writing this book to touch people's lives based on really my authentic childhood experiences that led into, a bit of a dark place. And that was pain that I put in there as pain that led me into this passion to help others and get through that, how I survived. And quite frankly, made it into prosperity, meaning prosperous in my family life and, successfully as far as business, family, spiritually. So, but none of that would have been possible until I met Corey. I had all these ideas in a notebook on different pieces of paper on Post-its, and you made it all possible to come together. So that's why I'm here today to talk about it and tell you about my journey, specifically how how it started from a dream to this book, and Corey made it all possible.
Yeah, and I love that you use even going back as far as like your childhood and talking about that foundation of where everything came from, because we do build on basically every single thing we've been exposed to in our lives, and it starts as children. It starts with the foundation our parents bring into it. It starts with our community, our friends when we're little. So it was really interesting for me as the the coach and the editor on that book, or not the editor rather, as the coach on that book, to go through and really learn about you on such a deep level. And that's something that I really appreciate about books like this. And yeah, so tell me a little bit about the actual author journey. Because I know when you came to me, you had some pieces of a manuscript. So tell me a little bit about it from your perspective, what was going on.
Sure. So I'd have these thoughts about what this chapter would look like and what it could be. It was hard to put myself into the reader's eyes and what they thought, like, what the heck is he talking about, or what is this? So as I start putting these chapters together, and I think I remember I had about 10,000 words, and you're like, oh, you're going to have to get to 20. And I thought, well, that's impossible. I'm not going to be able to do that. Thinking that I said everything I had to say, right? Of course, people should do that. And that's one of the things I coach on is write down what you're thinking immediately. I don't care where it is. If it's in your car and a post-it, put it in your visor. But so I had all those things written down, but didn't know how to seamlessly transition from where it started to where it ended and where I am today. So kind of like that navigation that I keep going back to, that I'm working on right now, like where you are today, where you want to be, and how you're going to get there. How do you fill that gap? And so you kind of were my navigation system, if you will, for lack of better words, my GPS on how to navigate through that. And so I kept coming back, and the only way to do that was through my sessions with you, right? I didn't know that we were going to be meeting once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever that may have been. I can't recall. I think it was every 2 or 3 weeks, right? Something like that. But
Wow.
so, and each time it got more challenging and more difficult for me to, you would pick out something, and sometimes I think you reined it in where I was yelling at the crowd or my audience, this is what you need to do. This is how. And so you brought everything in the perspective, but more importantly was each week you made me stretch even further to become. I never thought I would really complete this book. I really honestly can, be transparent and say I never thought it would be a reality. But you, through each session, it became harder and harder. We'd get off the phone. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get this done now. It was almost like being in school again. I had an assignment. Corey's going to yell at me. I'm going to get demerits. But nevertheless, we completed it. But each of those sessions that I would advise anyone who has this dream that wants to do a tabletop book, a coffee table book, whatever you want to call that, something not as intense perhaps as this book, to reach out to you just to get an idea, have a conversation at least, if nothing else. And then you could see how that journey happens. But everyone's journey is going to be different. And I think that's what's so unique and special about working with you, Corey. And I could say that candidly and honestly, that it was really a pleasure. And it really was. And it made, you made it come to a reality. But those sessions were great. Each session was harder and harder and harder. And it became what it is today.
Well, thank you for everything nice you said about me. um, I'm sure that there were times you didn't want to say nice things about me when we got
No,
off
no, I think I probably did say some bad things under my voice, so not to anybody else.
calls. Yeah, and so as coaches, I think it's important to recognize that we do need coaches. We need somebody to step in and say, hey, did you think of it from this perspective? Or to ask questions, which is a huge thing coaches do. Every type of coach is asking questions. And when you're doing your own story, it's nice to have someone come in and ask those questions because, like you said, you thought you had told the whole story, but then I came in and I was, just looking at it from the intrigued reader perspective and saying, hey, I want to know more about this, or tell me this piece, or you left this out. I don't know this. So it's really, I have the coolest job to be able to get to do that, to sit down with an author and pick their brain and be like, more story, more story, more story. So I love that we were able to do that together. I do want to pause for a second because I forgot to mention at the beginning that everybody who joins us and comments, asks questions. Questions are always awesome. If you're asking questions, pick Vinnie's brain. He's here to tell you about the author journey, about his experience. So if you're hopping on and asking questions, you get your name in the hat. And at the end of the party period, which is like mid-April, I'm going to be drawing names and giving prizes. So make sure you ask questions, even if you're watching on the replay. So back in, yeah, so I wanted to talk about the bestseller experience. So tell me kind of how you were feeling, because I remember that day we were like back and forth on text, like, all right, where are we now?
Right.
Tell me
I,
about that.
I couldn't. Well, one, I couldn't believe it. I didn't think that many people were intrigued by what I had to say, but more importantly, the title. Personal prosperity blueprint. And that journey. A lot of people say, well, what does that mean exactly? That journey from pain to passion into prosperity. And a lot of the closest friends of mine thought, about prosperity being something materialistic, whether it was a house, a car, or whatever. And we've gone over this multiple times, but for the audience, that has nothing to do with it. But part of that is, if you do want something materialistic, or you do want the six-pack abs, or you do want whatever it is you want, whatever that desire is, how do you get there? So I didn't think people really got it at first. And then as I saw those numbers going up and the downloads, I'm like, wow, this is insane. And I'm very blessed to have this opportunity. And I was just excited. I wanted to just call and thank you and thank you and thank you. But I didn't know that it was really going to be a best-selling author. I thought, well, that's not even possible. But it became reality. So, and as a result of that, most importantly is, yes, I love the title. Don't need the beautiful plaque that, I got from you. I love it. The accolades. Didn't need to do that, but it's beautiful and it's something I'll cherish forever. But what it did is, all of a sudden now it is authentic. It's just legitimately stamped that I am now an author, and I am a consultant and a coach and a motivational speaker and inspirational guy that wants to help people. But now it's legitimate, it's solidified. And so now, as a result of the book, I thought, well, where am I going to go from here? Marlon Woods and I have now started this Make It Happen Mondays, but before that, to end your week, Significant Sundays, that talk about some of the book, but more, life lessons, not so spiritual on any particular religion, but just to be spiritual in some form. It also opened up talks now that I'm speaking to folks at high schools, colleges, some other events. Hopefully the Pittsburgh Business Show with Linda Jo Thornburg, that'll be coming up soon. But that opened all these doors, you making this book a reality. And so now I can get on stage and say confidently, this was my journey. If you don't want to hear it on stage, here's the book to follow up on it and read it for your own. So it's just all the stuff that's happening, and there's just going to be more to come. I know that, but it was a result of completing that first. This was one of the, as I say in the book, developmental stepping stones to now springboard me into something different. And if that's what you want to do in your life and anyone's life, you have to start with something and then make it a reality and figure out how you're going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love all the doors that it's opened for you. I love that you've been able to connect with Marlon and start doing those. Are you doing them on Facebook? Is that where they are?
Yes, it's Facebook Live. Yeah. So
Okay.
Significant Sundays, they're at 1:30 on Sundays, and Make It Happen Mondays at 6 p.m. on Monday evenings.
Okay. Yeah. And those are Eastern time if you're interested in watching those.
That's correct.
Yeah. And I love that you guys were able to connect because of the book. And, I think he was a connection through Linda Jo Thornburg, right?
I believe so. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's kind of how all of us connected was, I mean, absolutely everything entrepreneurial is connections, 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 connections. And one of the things that a book does for you is build those connections. You know, you had told Linda Joe you were working on a book. She connected you with me, and then she connected you with Marlon, and you guys have been able to build all this impact over the past couple months, helping people out and, you know, spreading the word about how to have success in your own life. And I think
Absolutely.
that's just phenomenal.
And the
Um,
team, you mentioned, yeah, Linda Joe Thornburg. I forgot. That's right. She hooked us up as well,
yeah,
with her company, Higher Images, not to promote it on here, but this platform does, it should suggest that that connection between you, Marlon Woods, Linda Joe, I couldn't ask for a better team than the three of you. I really couldn't, and as you know, we're going to be going back here, hopefully beginning of May, if I can get everything in line, with another book that we're going to work on, more of an anthology type. And what that means for people that don't really follow that
mm,
is somewhat of an interview of people that live the lives of certain lives in certain places, I guess, to keep it somewhat vague. But again, you're gonna have to bring me from 50,000 to 20,000 feet down to the ground, which right now we're at about 100,000 feet on that. But we're gonna be working together in May, and again with this team, I think the sky's the limit.
yeah, absolutely. I completely agree on that. And I do want to say I love that you're moving from like I did my own book to now I'm going to be talking to these other people and giving them a voice and really letting them speak because you figured it out on your own. You've got that piece. I mean, we helped. My team helped, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so you've got that piece figured out, and you know the book journey now. And so now you can actually say, hey, I want to bring you in and I want to bring you in. I've actually been working with a lot of authors recently on anthologies, and it's such a cool experience because you do get to give other people the opportunity, and you do get to say to people who maybe never thought that they would, get their voice heard in a book,
Right.
hey, I'd like to bring you along for the journey. And that is such a cool piece of being a leader, of being a best-selling author, of being all of those things.
Right.
So the book is next, or the next book is next. So what else is coming down the pike for you?
I think for right now, I'll leave it at that. Some are open for surprise, but I hopefully gonna have an actual book launch party. I'm gonna try to do it in my neighborhood locally, Pittsburgh's Little Italy, to start, because later on in the year, again, there's some bigger events going to happen, hopefully come to fruition. However, right now, I think mid-April, maybe before the beginning of May, like to have a book launch party, where I don't really do a lot of talking, but we have some fun and maybe sell a couple books, but have everybody there to, just celebrate this accomplishment, this thing that I've done in my life that I never thought was possible. And again, you'll be there obviously because you made it happen too. So that's the next big thing. And then after that, there's a couple things you have to stay tuned for, unfortunately, because I don't have anything solidified just right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, you just hit bestseller in January. So
Right.
I kind of reached out and was like, hey, let's talk. I know you just became a bestseller, but
Keep the momentum going,
already going and already got good stuff in
Right.
the docket for this year.
Absolutely.
So I don't have anybody asking questions, but I do have some people watching. So I want to mention again, if you ask questions, go ahead and pick Vinny's brain about becoming a best-selling author, about his author journey. Everybody who's commenting does get their name in the hat to win some fabulous author-themed prizes.
Awesome. Corey, they
Yeah,
can reach out to me directly if they have questions about how the journey was. If there's not, a comfort level in reaching directly out to you to be more open. If you have some, I don't know, some questions that you might want to throw at Corey, please feel free to reach out to me. You know where to find me on VinnieBorrelli.com, but I can, I'll field any questions to you if needed, but otherwise I can answer any questions on how great and how painless it was to do this, to make it happen.
awesome. And we'll have to put your links below too. So
Okay.
yeah, is there anything else you wanted to share with us about how it feels to be a bestseller, about all
No,
the
I'm just on a high, I really am. I am so motivated to get up every morning. I was before, but this made it even more. And like I don't even need my alarm clock. I'm up at 5:20 and my alarm's set for 5:30. I don't think I've needed it for the last 2 months since this happened. So,
yeah,
because and that's what it should be on this book. If you have that desire to write the book deep in your heart, just do it. Get up and do it. And if it's a half hour a day or if you can allot 3 hours a day, just do it. Don't wait until tomorrow. You're not guaranteed tomorrow, which I always preach. And some people get tired of hearing it, but you're not. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. If today was your last day, would you have been okay with not completing one of those dreams you had? Because most people, on their last day, on their deathbed, elderly or not, have that regret of doing what they didn't complete. Not They don't regret the things they did. They regret the things they didn't do, and that's a fact across every mentor I had, every trainer, every teacher. So just do it. If reach out to Corey or myself if you want to have a book, and even if you only have a piece of paper, start somewhere.
Yeah, awesome. And I love that this is your legacy. This is a big part of what you're giving to the world. So
Thank you.
fantastic. Yeah, Vinnie's book is oh my God, I'm blanked on it. I'll let you say it. I'm sorry.
A personal prosperity blueprint.
Yes.
A journey from pain to passion into prosperity.
Yes.
That's it right there. And it's, VinnieBorrelli.com. Go through there and all my information's on that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was great connecting again. And again, people comment below, ask us your questions. We're going to be dropping Vinnie's link below so you can check him out, check out his book. It's available on Amazon. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Thanks, Corey. Talk to you soon.